Hello, welcome to the YesSpiral Spring Moon Focus, where you can align with your inner spiral. Hello, I'm YesSpiral. I am a spiral weaver, an intuitive guide, a tarot and astrology and lunar cycles facilitator and educator. You can learn more about me at yesspiral.com/about. A few things that you will need to make this a easy experience. First, a notebook or your journal. Get some pens, markers, or colored pencils so that you can get creative. Get a tarot or oracle deck. If you're using tarot, split your deck into three piles, one for court cards, another for the major arcana and the aces, and the third pile of the minor arcana cards 2 through 10. Doing work like this with your tarot deck is a way that you can cleanse your deck. Next, you'll need your natal chart or your birth time, birth date, and location. If you don't have this information, there's an alternative, and I'll go over this with you later. And last, a quiet, comfortable space where you can journal and take in this information you're about to learn. We are going to cover the transiting moon in your birth chart. We are also going to review each of the 3 spring new moons and what they're going to bring into your life. And we're going to focus that by finding what your lunar focus is going to be for each of the 3 moons. And later, I will let you know where you can get worksheets and tools for action. So, spring is nature's fresh start. It's when we are invited to clear space, plant new seeds, and nurture what we want to grow. In many traditions, spring is the real new year. When intention meets momentum. So think about the saying spring cleaning. It's a time for us to start fresh and to clear out the old. And we start spring when the sun moves into the area of the constellations known as Aries. And Aries is all about taking courageous action. The next moon in the spring cycle is Taurus. Taurus is about building something sustainable. And lastly, we have Gemini, who rounds out spring. And Gemini is about staying open to new ideas and perspectives. So, the spring awakening. The spring equinox is the day of the year that marks a time of balance, renewal, and new growth. It's an opportunity to clear, plant, and align with transformation. So I've put this image here that shows the sun and the moon. So equal day, night, and equal day and equal night. This is the time of year when the day and the night each share the same amount of time. Next, how about aligning your intentions with your life areas? So, the way that you do that is with the astrological houses, which represent different areas of life. And by getting in alignment, that's how you co create with the transiting moon to help you be intentional and strategic with your actions. So, these are the 12 houses, and I've given you some keywords so that you can start to familiarize yourself with the different houses. And we're going to go into more detail about that. So, the moon cycle planner. This is where you would clarify your monthly focus based on the moon's zodiac sign and where it lands in your chart. So this is just a typical chart here. It has the correspondences for each one of the 12 houses and also the corresponding signs, the house numbers. And over here is where you would enter your rising or sun sign. And if you want to be creative, you could put any sign you want in there. And next, we're going to find out how to do this. So by doing this, you can craft powerful, personalized intentions that actually stick because it's based on where the moon and sun are highlighting for you at that particular time. It's an opportunity to co-create with cosmic timing, to take aligned action, to reflect, and to evolve. And you can do this moons after moons. Notice how I said moons? It's because a moon cycle, it's 29 and a half days, almost as long as a month, but not quite. So I like to call them moons. Okay, so I think the first thing that we should do is to draw an astrological chart. And I think that you should keep this in your journal so that you can refer to it at each new moon and even at the different phases of the moon. So get out your journal and take out a pen. And the first thing to do is to draw a circle. So just draw a circle as big or as small. I would say make it pretty big so that you can write in it. So draw a circle on your page. And then we're going to draw two lines. A horizontal line. The horizontal line represents, that's this line, the one that goes across, that represents the horizon. The line, the edge on the left represents the rising. So this is the rising area. That's where the sun was rising at the time of your birth. And this on the right side represents the descendant. So that's where the sun would be descending or setting. The vertical line, once you draw it, the top part that represents your midheaven, and the bottom part of the line that represents your imam koli. You don't really need to know that for this particular chart that we are doing, this exercise. What you need to know is the ascendant. So we're going to come back to this area later and I'll tell you when. Okay, so next, the way to get to split this chart that's split up into 4 right now into 12 is to split each quadrant into 30 degrees, or I guess 10 degrees or 30 degrees. So you're going to draw 2 lines in each of the quadrants. So go ahead and draw 2 lines in each one. And if you think about it, it should be about 30 degrees each, because each quadrant represents 90 degrees. And the whole chart is 360 degrees. So if you have your compass, or is it protractor? If you have that, then you can make it perfect. Otherwise, just eyeball it. Okay, so at the end, your chart should look like this. So now each one of the pieces of the pie represent 30 degrees. Next, draw a circle within your circle, just like shown in the picture. And then you're going to find the horizon line again. So remember, the first horizontal line that you drew, that is where you would put the rising sign. So in the inner circle, go ahead and start putting in your numbers. So start with 1, and that would be here. And I'll show you what this chart looks like filled up. So go ahead and fill out your chart. Okay, so you should have all of the numbers going around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then we're going to start to put in your rising sign. So you need to determine the rising sign, or you can use your sun sign if you don't know, or get creative and in charge and choose which sign you're going to put in the first house. This is going to represent what you'd like to bring into your awareness and to bring into your persona. Like, what kind of energy do you want to embody for the year? So that's what you're going to put there. If you don't know how to do this, then I'm going to show you. So, birth chart, birth date, time, place, transit chart. I like to go to the website astro-seek.com because I think they have the best types of charts that are best suited for this purpose. And I'm going to show you some screenshots of how to do this. So if you click on that link, or if you just go to that website, it's going to look like this. I would recommend that you get an account with them. It's free. As you can see, it has like some, actually you can't see from here, but it does have ads, so you don't have to pay for it. And it just makes it easier so that you don't have to enter your details every single time you go to this website. Okay, so this is the home page. Once you are in this home page, you're going to look for transit chart, which is over here. I'm circling it. Once you click on that, it's going to bring you to this page, the transit chart calculator. And it does give you a lot of options. This website does have a lot of options for charting and for learning astrology. So I highly recommend it. For our particular purpose, we are going to choose the transit full and new moons in the natal chart. So we're going to pick that chart. And when you click on it, it's going to bring you to this transit full and new moons in the natal chart. So go ahead, enter your date of birth. So the day, the month, the year. You're going to put in the time, as in the hour, and the minutes. Next, go ahead and enter your birth city. And we are looking at 2025 for this year. Also, if you scroll a little bit down, you will see that it gives you some more options. The one that I want you to look at is the house system. The other options are advanced, and you're welcome to do that, but we're not going to touch that for today. Normally, the house system is defaulted to Placidus, but for this purpose, I would like you to choose whole sign because it's easier for you to learn. And if you've been using Placidus, this is also a way for you to see which one you vibe with more. I personally prefer Placidus, but for learning purposes, I find that whole sign makes more sense. And it's also easier to keep on your chart from when you are working on your own. Okay, so once you submit, it's going to bring up a new page, which is going to have this chart right in the center of it. So I know it can be a little overwhelming, but the first thing you want to do is to find that horizon line, the ascendant. So there it is. There's the ascendant line. And then you want to find out what sign is it that's in that first house. For this particular chart, which is actually the birth date of the YesSpiral.com. So YesSpiral.com is a Scorpio ascendant. So if you don't know what this symbol means, I put the symbols here with the names. So here, my ascendant for YesSpiral is Scorpio. So you may want to make a note of that. Then the second thing you want to do is to find the Aries symbol. So I highlighted it in red so that you know what Aries looks like. And in this particular chart is in the sixth house. So that means that the Aries new moon is happening in my sixth house. All right. So if that's too complicated, then you can scroll down on that same page. And then what you're going to do is again, look for the Aries symbol, which happens to be over here. And you could also just look for the date, which the new moon in Aries is on March 29 at 6:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to happen at 8 degrees of Aries. And for YesSpiral.com, it's going to happen in the sixth house. So then the next thing that I like to do is to click on the transit chart. So that, I think, is where you get to see more information. And if you are not well versed with astrology, this is where you're going to be able to find that information helpful. So once you click on it, it brings you to another page. Just scroll down until it brings you to the part that says interpretations. And then you're going to find that the sun and the moon are both in the sixth house. And the reason for that is that every new moon, the sun and the moon are together in the sky. And that means you cannot see the moon in the sky because the moon does not have its own light. It reflects the light from the sun. So at the new moon, the sun and the moon are together in the sky, highlighting a particular area. In this case, it's highlighting the sixth house. That's why I like to think that the new moon time is a portal where the sun and the moon are both in agreement of which area to highlight. And we can use that information to design the life that we want. Okay. All right, so now we're back to our chart that we drew. So the first step was to determine the rising sign. For this particular case, it was Scorpio, and then to place the rising sign into the chart. So you're going to start right underneath the horizon in house 1. So here's an example. If Scorpio is the rising sign, then you're going to start with Scorpio. So Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Gemini. Oh, I think I made a mistake there. It should be Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo. Who's this? Oh, this is Virgo, Libra, and then Scorpio again. If Gemini is your ascendant, then you're going to start with Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, and so on and so forth until you get to Taurus. Third example is if Virgo is your ascendant, then you're going to put Virgo in the first house. Second house is Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Aquarius, so on and so forth until you get to Leo in the 12th. So I hope that makes sense and that you have determined which sign you're going to put into your chart. And then the other option is if you do know your ascendant, or if you don't, maybe you want to try it with your sun sign and see what kind of energy that is. Or you just want to get creative. So these are all of the symbols and the order. So I placed it like this. So it goes Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. So that's the order. And also this particular order that I've placed the signs in is in season order. So Aries, Taurus, and Gemini are the 3 signs of spring. Cancer, Leo, and Virgo are the 3 signs of summer. Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius are the 3 signs of autumn. And Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces are the three signs of winter. So, by combining the energy of the zodiac house along with what sign the moon and the sun are highlighting, you can fine tune your focus for each new moon. So, when we think about the three spring moons, Aries is cardinal fire, and the motto is I am. So, cardinal is the energy that starts things off. It's that new energy that has that spark of, it's that new sparky type energy that takes a lot of action. And for the Aries cardinal, it's fire. So, that's a very bold and initiating energy. And the motto for Aries is I am. So Aries is focused on itself and takes assertive action towards independence. Aries has a need to be assertive, take action, and be authentic. Now, for YesSpiral.com, that Aries energy is highlighting the sixth house of health, routine, chores, and responsibility. So, one way that YesSpiral.com can take this Aries energy combined with the sixth house of routines and responsibility is by offering you this presentation so that you can go ahead and create a routine for yourself and to have a sense of responsibility to what it is that you want to bring into your life. So that is the vibe that YesSpiral.com is going to take on for this spring new moon. So then, when we move into the next moon of the spring season, it's going to be Taurus. The energy is fixed, and that means that the energy is stable. So each fixed time of a season is the most potent. It's the most potent and is also the most pure time of the season. So we just finished winter. And if we think about February, it was cold every single day and winter was wintering. For spring, during Taurus time, every single day is going to be warm. It's going to be cool in the morning and night and warm in the afternoon. And maybe we'll get a lot of rain. So that's when the season, when it's fixed, is when it's most potent and pure of the season. And earth means that it has to do with like responsibility, tangible items like money and work. And the motto for Taurus is I have. So Taurus is grounded and harvests the fruits of his labor. The energy is practical, steady, and consistent. Taurus is about pleasure and comfort. So for Taurus, if the new moon was in the if the new moon in Aries happened in the sixth house, then the new moon in Taurus is going to happen in the seventh house. So if we continue with the example of YesSpiral.com, so with Taurus, grounding and harvesting the fruits of his labor, along with partnerships, contracts, and close relationships, that could be a good time to perhaps set up some like readings that have a contract to them where people can become practical, steady, and consistent with their practice. So here, so Gemini, the mutable air sign. Mutable is what closes out the sign, the season, the mutable energy. So think about winter again. Some of the days are now a little bit spring-like, and some days are still cold, but the energy is definitely changing. And you may have already noticed some changes in your own neighborhood. Maybe you've seen some crocuses, maybe some of the trees are starting to wake up and bud. Maybe you've noticed some grass coming out. So this is the end of spring when Gemini comes around. And the motto is I think. And Gemini is into communication and learning from others. They build networks of understanding. Gemini takes a lighthearted approach to life. So if we're looking at Gemini, and if we started in the sixth house for Aries, seventh house for Taurus, then we're going to the eighth house for Gemini, for YesSpiral.com with the Scorpio ascendant. So actually, this happens to be Scorpio's house. So if YesSpiral is going to look at this, then maybe one thing that YesSpiral could do is to think about some sort of transformation. Maybe one of the offerings that's on YesSpiral.com changes into something new and different based on what has come up throughout the spring season. Okay, so last, here are the 3 zodiac signs. So you may want to make a note of this in your notebook. So which is for Aries, which house is it in? So for me, it's Scorpio in the 6th house. Taurus is happening in Sagittarius in the 7th. And for Gemini, is happening in, wait, I should have written this down. Let me look at this. So we started in Aries in the 6th. Okay, 7th and 8th. So Scorpio. No, this is Aries in the 6th, Taurus in the 7th, and then Gemini in the 8th. Okay, so let's go back. So the first house for the YesSpiral.com example is happening in the 6th house. Then the Taurus new moon is happening in the 7th house, and the Gemini new moon is happening in the 8th house. Okay, so I hope that made sense for you and that you have a better understanding of how your chart works. And if you have questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. So next, we are going to do tarot because the thing that I like to do is to combine lunar cycles with astrology and tarot. I think those 3 different modalities coupled together is for making big magic. So this spread that I call the Spring Equinox Tarot or Oracle spread helps you to tap into your inner spiral calling, offering clarity, focus, and aligned intentions for the season ahead. So the first pile of cards are the posture cards. The second pile are the path cards, and the third cards are the practice pile. The practice pile. So if you remember at the beginning of this presentation, I asked you to go ahead and to split your deck into 3 different piles. So let me go to the next page. So the first pile are the court cards. The court cards are the kings, queens, knights, and pages. So you may want to go ahead and just separate those cards into that pile. So the first pile is the court cards, kings, queens, knights, and pages. The second pile are the major arcana cards and the aces. So go through your deck and find all of the major arcana. That's Judgment, the Hangman, the Lovers, the Chariot, Temperance, Tower. Those cards, you're going to separate them and put them into the second pile and also put the aces in there as well. And now the third pile, and the biggest, is these are the minor arcana cards. So you should have all four suits, which are swords, wands, pentacles, and cups, numbers 2 through 10 in this pile. So go ahead, separate your deck, and why don't you give this video a pause if you haven't done that yet, so that you can easily pick up where you left off. If you happen to have an oracle deck, forget about the piles, just go ahead and shuffle your deck and think about your seasonal focus. Like, what is your intention for this season? So think about that. So go ahead and using the right pile, which is the practice, these, oh, you know, I kind of have this a little mixed up. This should really be, this text here should be this text, but this goes, let me see how I did this here. The right, the practice. Okay, it's fine. Let's just go with what it says on the top. So for the first one, we're gonna do the actions and rituals. So find your find your minor arcana pile, and we're gonna go ahead and shuffle that pile that has the minor arcana cards 2 through 10, and ask as you shuffle, what small consistent actions are going to help me to stay grounded and in flow? What small consistent actions are going to help me stay grounded and in flow? So go ahead and shuffle that, and we're going to pick a card. Okay, so go ahead, pick your card. The middle pile is correct. So the center card should be your major arcana cards. So go ahead and pick a major arcana card. Shuffle your deck and see what comes up for you. And as you shuffle, ask, what core lesson, energy, or opportunity is unfolding for me? What core lesson, energy, or opportunity is unfolding for me? All right. Once you've done that, put that pile down, and we're going to move on to the third pile, which is the court cards. So the question is, what mindset, attitude, or approach will support your journey? What mindset, attitude, or approach will support my journey? So go ahead, shuffle until you get your answer. All right, so now you should have 3 cards. If you haven't turned them over, go ahead and turn them over. I like to start with the center card. That's just the way that I learned how to do a tarot spread when I first started back in 2010, and that particular spread said to start with the center card, and that's just the way that I've been ever since. So if there are 3 cards, most likely the center card is going to go down first. So for me, I just pulled the Ace of Cups in this beautiful, it's called Tarot of the Divine, and it is inspired by deities, folklore, and fairy tales from around the world. So I got the Ace of Cups, and it is showing someone pouring sake, of all things, into a bowl. And the thing that you want to do is in the center here, you just want to look at your card and get some, just whatever comes to mind, just some keywords, and also put the card title in. So for me, the keywords that I wrote are nurturing, tending, new beginning, and then the Ace of Cups. For the second pile on the right over here, even though it says court card, the top part, let's just go with what the top says, which is the minor arcana cards 2 through 10. So for me, I pulled the 7 of coins. It looks like this in this deck. And the keywords that I wrote are tending and patience. And then the last pile is the court card, and this is the posture, the mindset, and energy that is going to be a thread throughout this spring cycle. So I have the I have the King of what is this? The King of Coins, which in this particular deck is a turtle, which is from a I think Aztec um, folkloric myth. And the keywords that I wrote were Father Turtle, control, control of resources, and stability. So once you've done that, that's just like your initial responses to what came up for this spread. Then the next thing you may want to do is to go ahead and spend like 2 or 3 minutes on each card and just journaling. What small, consistent actions are going to help you stay grounded and in flow? What core lesson, energy, or opportunity is unfolding for you? And what mindset, attitude, or approach will support your journey? I actually have this as a handout, which I will tell you how to get your hands on at the end of these slides. So, what came up for you in the Align with Your Inner Spiral Tarot spread? What was your posture, path, and practice? Take some time and journal about it, as having this information will help you to feel more confident as you move through the spring season. Okay, so what's next? Now that we've gone through how to find your lunar focus and a tarot spread to get you in alignment, you can join the YesSpiral Spring 3 Moon Mini Cohort. This is where we are going to deep dive into the spring moon cycles. I'll reach out for each of the moon phases. That's new moon, waxing moon, full moon, and waning moon. So 4 emails per month. And then we're going to get together at the waxing moon phase to take one of those intentions and turn them into a SMART goal. And it's interesting that I'm starting with this because the spring is the waxing moon, or the waxing, yeah, what would be like the waxing moon phase of the year. So just like a cool connection that I saw there after I had come up with this plan. And if you feel like getting 4 emails per month with journaling prompts and some homework, plus joining the live calls once per month, then why don't you go ahead and get the Spring 3 Moon Journal? You can practice at your own pace. It'll have all of the exercises, and always you have the choice to decide if you want to do all of the exercises or just some, or if you want to skip most. If you prefer to do things in person, journaling is not your thing, join me at the Aries New Moon Ritual at Flower Power. It's going to be on Saturday, March 29th at 7:30 p.m. And Flower Power is in New York City in the East Village. And if you would like the handouts that go with this presentation, go to www.yesspiral.com/spring3moonfocus to get your worksheets. And thank you so much for spending this time with me and for allowing me to review this information. And if you like this, please like and subscribe. Thank you.